Hi everyone and welcome back to WARNO. Today I've got another 2v2 for everyone. I'm playing as the 79th tank down here. Grigory is playing as the 7th Panzer Division, the strongest division right now because of its air spam. Depending on your point of view, I'm sure. And over the other side we have two randoms who are playing as the 5th Panzer Division. Obviously another very, very good division. Right now, I'd say the 7th Panzer and the 5th Panzer are most certainly the strongest. I've picked the 79th Tank Division, which is my first mistake, and it's probably one of the weakest right now, especially on any map where you're filling towns and forests. But let's get this on the road. So I've got plenty of scouts knocking about. My aim is to take this town here. Now, deliberately, after previously playing this map a couple of times with Grigory, we decided I would go Charlie and he would take the one that was going to be the difficult one where usually everybody goes. We'll see how that pans out for me. Let me just speed this up a bit. We can see that the enemy have quite a lot of mortars already right off the bat. There we go, we're off now. So, obviously we couldn't see what they were doing at this point in time. I know Grigory did have a little look at the replay after we played, but this is new for me. I didn't see what they were up to, and honestly they didn't have that much there. They had the Avklara there versus my Redvedska. That's literally all they had at that point, so I technically had more, and my infantry and things were getting there first. So I just put down some Strelki, some Sapri RPOs, you know, my intention here to hold the town. Now I should be getting here first, they're further away from it. Over at this side, they start closer. And they've gone straight for getting some infantry squads in there. Interesting that two people have gone here. They've both sent some units there, which is what I'd usually expect. I'm surprised that they're sending so much to this side though, and this is mainly Sword of the Saint. Bomber coming in straight away. Tornado HE bomber. Kill my Radvedska, I take it. Yeah, that was the aim. To get a shot off at that tornado, but it didn't kill it. Got some Motostrelki coming in to back up these guys. They are against two Pioneer Flams though, with the hand flam patron. I will not fare well against those. I would need some of my RPOs or a vehicle to be doing significant damage to them. Loads of Leopards coming in there. Two Leopard 2A3s and a Leopard 2A3 Commander. Plenty of anti-air around them as well. Two Roland 3s. I can do with a seed plane. The weapons are also turned on, if I believe the replay. Over this side, Grigory's just kind of building up a defense. He's not really moved in. It's a shame he didn't push in sooner. He regretted that when he watched the replay. Another Tornado HE bomber coming in there. Could be the same one. Trying to take out those Redvedska. Unfortunately, my guys at that side aren't going to fare well against those Pioneers. Zooming out, I did bring in a single artillery piece at this point. One on their own aren't great. Trying to get some shots off at these Leopards, but my T-64s, I knew at the time, wouldn't fare greatly against the 2A3s. The 2A3s are really good. See, my guys are struggling against them. T-64 is a really good tank, but yeah, the 2A3s are just crazy right now. Also, they're getting a boost from the command tank being there. Now, I do seek a slight bit of revenge, hopefully soon. We should be seeing a bomber coming in for me. Look at the amount of fire coming out of those. Here it comes. Cluster. This was possibly the most satisfying bombing run I've ever done in this game. Oh, yes. That was delicious. Yeah, I was very, very, very satisfied killing all 3 of those tanks with 1 bombing run. The bombers are just so strong against all the units on the ground for a very low price in some cases. Over at the other side, Grigory's not doing too much. He's still just kind of building up outside. He is trying to help me over here as well now, though, because I asked for some assistance. That said, I don't know where I think this tank's going in the middle. I think I was just trying to reinforce it there. HE bomber coming in there. I think this was just I'm going to try and clear these areas. Going for what was a recon unit there. They took out my Strela, so I'm bringing in another one. I mean, my big thing at the moment is needing anti-air because they are using a lot of bombers. There's just nothing happening at this side. But they keep throwing more and more stuff in here, and one of my big issues with the deck that I took, the 79th, is that it just doesn't have a lot of infantry, and I'm going to reach a point in this game where I have no infantry left. I'm just going to hide that panel, because someone asked me to hide the panel. So, obviously here we've just got Pioneer flank with this infantry after infantry after infantry squad coming in. A couple of tanks there. I'm not overly concerned about those. Yes, they're going to provide a lot of fire support from the side, but it's mostly all the infantry that I'm worried about, because they just keep bringing so much in. Loads of leopards coming in as well now. Those tanks, they're way too far forward. They're putting themselves at risk. They've got no air defense around them. I can either get those with tanks. I can get them with a bomber. I'm not... You notice I'm not panicking about that. Speaking of, HE bomber, I think was Grigory's. That's going for those infantry. He does get hit by the Roland. My cluster's coming in, going for those tanks. Made quick work of them. M48 shouldn't be underestimated, but yeah, easy dealt with. Managed to get a shot off with my Tunguska at that jet. Tunguska's pretty good. Just turn off their main cannon if you're concerned about seed. Let their missiles do the job. But look, just overwhelming me in terms of infantry. They just have more infantry. And although I keep calling in reinforcements to my infantry, it just is never enough because I just don't have that much in this deck. The 79th tank just... You can't have that much infantry. And right now, for any maps like this, infantry is king, and having spare infantry is so important. Let's have a look at what's happening on the other side. A couple of AT planes flittering around at the back there. I'm not sure why. I assume they're looking for something of Grigory's to kill. There's another HE plane. Where's that going? For my tank? Yeah, it went for my... It killed my tank. A HE plane. Was that even... It wasn't even a direct hit on top of the tank. That's crazy. I mean, the plane's dead, but that was... I assumed it was a cluster that killed that tank. Well. Calling me confused. The RT has started. MRLS. Lars. He's firing Lars 2s at what would be infantry. I mean, I didn't even know there were Lars, to be fair. You can't really tell from it, but... Those Pioneer Armbrust just ride past everything. I will note that after this game, I think I went through and changed all my settings so that all weapons should fire at any transports with infantry in. Because there were far too many transports just seemingly sailing past my units and not being attacked, which is very strange. Where's that HE bomber going? Oh, they were hitting stuff at the back there. There's all my reinforcements arriving again. They're not going to last long. Over here, they're finally massively reinforcing that point. I think Grigory missed his earlier chance to get in there and do some serious damage. I'm still just holding them off here. And I constantly wish I was playing as one of the infantry decks, because I'd have been able to flood this with infantry and not be worrying about it. Whereas at the moment I'm kind of having to bring in infantry, but my infantry's not that cheap and there's only a limited amount of it, so I don't really want it to die. I've actually had trouble keeping hold of this point through this game. You'll notice I lost it at this point. I have called in another command vehicle. But just the artillery bombardment, the Lars doesn't do a lot, but it's annoying. It makes you think it's doing a lot. I thought it was standard MRLS, to be honest, at this point, because you can't really tell it's cluster. They are supposed to be cluster, but it's not very obvious. I mean, I'm holding it. They're not really pushing me, but they are counter-capping. And as you'll notice, they have +6 because Grigory hadn't really made a move over here. They've now massively reinforced it, and they've had that point for the entire game. So for a long time it was neutral because I had this one, but now they're +6. And it feels like a bit of an uphill fight because I just don't have that infantry spam. But at some point I ran out of all my infantry. I mean, I'm bringing in the odd jet just to try and damage stuff at the back now. But you'll notice I don't have much in here, and I'm slowly trying to push forward because I need to get up here. The Jeopard's annoying, but I need to kill that command. But again, they're pushing in this side. Sword of Saint. Sword of the Saint was a pretty good play. Kept the pressure up. Seemed to know what they were doing, kept bombing me. Not so much use on the artillery when it came to the Lars, but doing generally a very good job. On the other side, Grigory still hasn't moved in. He is getting hit by those Lars though. Kind of lost that middle bit completely at this stage. It all just feels like a bit of an uphill battle, this game. I think, ideally, looking back, while I could hold this myself for the most part, and it was very nice, Grigory did send some units, sent another command vehicle in, things like that, it would have been nice if Grigory had pushed this earlier on in the game. When there weren't a lot of units in there, he probably could have, you know, contested it, and it might have reduced the amount of pressure I was getting at my side, because pretty much because Grigory didn't put any pressure on that point, which is usually on this point on this map the main combat point, as we've seen in previous games I've put up and other games I haven't put up, that's where the fighting usually takes place. This side is usually kind of less so a combat point. So the fact that Grigory didn't sort of try and push that earlier or be more aggressive is just unfortunate, because it meant that Sword of the Saint could put all his pressure at this side, and I just brought the wrong deck for this map, which meant that everything was an uphill struggle for me. Because as much as I have really good tanks, you know, I've got the T-80Us and everything else, in this environment they're just not that useful. The reality is I needed something else. I'm now using my artillery a bit more. I have had one for ages and I kept using it on and off, but I've now got two, so I'm putting on the pressure a bit with that. Artillery's not the be-all and end-all in this game though. but any damage I can do is good at this point. T-80s I'm bringing over here because I need to kill that leopard. And it's just me trying now to keep the pressure on, to keep them out the point. But you can see command vehicle coming straight back in. And over here, Grigory's still not doing much, just building up units and things. And Grigory is a really, really good wargame player. So I usually defer to him to tactics in this. I think he said so afterwards. He wished he pushed. So many jets. So many jets. They're just keeping up that pressure. And their points are ticking up. And I'm really low on infantry at this point. Grigory's having to bring some in the middle there. I'm trying to keep some infantry alive by using Urals. I don't know if you noticed that earlier, but I was bringing them in to try and rearm the Sapori RPO. Because, well, they're the most useful units in this town, but there aren't a lot of buildings left. But this was just an immense struggle. Over here, not a lot going on. I mean, it's got to a point where ZS is sort of pushing out a little bit and being a bit more aggressive because he's got a hold on that. Over here, Grigory helping in the middle there. But just more infantry. Look at it all. More and more infantry, and I'm pretty certain that I was out of infantry at this point. I mean, going back, that's my metas. There we go. I've just called in all of my Motorstrelki metas because that's all I had left, I think. I knew at some point I called them all in, and I had none left. This was my last-ditch attempt to call them all in, just because I needed some infantry. I mean, I've even got Iglas coming into the town to provide a little bit of extra air defense, and just because I didn't have anything else to call in. Constant stream of laws. They're not doing a huge amount though. See the laws going for my T-80B there. I mean, I'm just reversing it out of the way, but they just don't do anything. HE Tornado bombing the middle there. Thankfully I didn't have much in the middle. I sent those BTRs up to the front just to provide distraction, bit of harassment, slow them down a bit. Tanks here doing a decent job. 2 T-80Us. They survive at the minute. Over the other side, Grigory doing a little bit of push at that side, still not really moving his massive units here. This is an attempt at killing my Strela. I'm just going to reverse that out of the way. Whether I bother to... Did I stop these metas or did I think they would get through in time? I think I decided they would get through in time. And again, trying to kill my T-80s with those LARS 2s. There's those ATs coming in. They want a piece of my T-80Us. That's what they want. But keeping them hidden, keeping them out of the way. Get a couple of shots off at that. Do take it down. Don't underestimate those Strelas. Pretty decent units. Remember these guys. These guys aren't radar. So seed are useless against them. And the battle for this town is ongoing. It's all ruins for the most part now. I mean, there's just hardly anything left. Over the other side, still not a lot happening. But as you'll notice, those guys well ahead in points now. I mean, if time runs out, they have won this game. Simple as that. Look at all the infantry he's calling in there. Wow, I had some motorstocky BMPs left. Wow. I genuinely thought I was already out of all of my infantry. My infantry isn't doing a terrible job. I am managing to push through a bit. Though they're running straight past all these Jaegers. BMP2s doing some damage. Wishing I had BMP3s. I'm bringing my T-80Us across to provide some fire support in the town, even though that isn't the ideal situation. Michi bomber coming in there and hitting... not a lot. Did some damage to that command tank, though. I still have my little command vehicle back there. That's Grigory's command tank. Not a lot happening at that side. Grigory's still trying to push through the middle there with some units. Look at all these reinforcements coming in, the commander and everything. Are those leopard? Are those actually? No, they're just being called in. I was going to say. That's very confident. Feeling as though they have control enough to put units straight in there. And I'm not going to let that stand. I just attack move all this stuff this way. I need to kill that command vehicle. They're back at +3. But so many regrets about bringing the 79th tank. I mean, don't get me wrong. The T-80U's been very helpful at the end here, but I just felt like I needed infantry in this game, and I just didn't have it. It was a war of attrition, and they took me down to having no infantry to call in. Grigory still not making a move with the other side? I thought he'd made a move by now. This game went on longer than I thought. This is me just, and Grigory just bombing. I'm bringing in seaplanes now as well to try and do some damage. Forced him to pull out that commander again. Still got a command infantry there though. Just a constant back and forth. Straight back in with the command vehicle. It's working for them. It's working. Their points are staying up there. But yeah, Grigory still just sat there. He is helping me out with planes and infantry and stuff. But yeah, this again, he needed to push earlier. He said it himself, as I say. Still coming in and out, although we killed it finally. Oh dear. These are all those leopards coming in. They were pushing right into this side. Though he stopped them. They're engaging there. What am I firing at? Oh, I'm firing at the 2A3 over there. Oh, my T-80Us are badly damaged though. They need to get out of there. It's a T-80B. Oh. Look at that. That AT plane managed to fire both missiles, and that's not the last time it will do it in this game. They fire their missiles in quick succession, I'll say that much. On multiple targets. Lars 2 empty. No more ammo. Just sending them in. An attack move, I assume. Tasty treats for the T-80U. I'm not sure if it was a mistake, because he does back it off. So, at the moment, we're looking pretty good. We're in control. Both sides must be running out of units. He's not calling in as much infantry now, so we've worn that down. It's more command infantry and tanks that are coming in now, and other command vehicles. It's a bit suicidal of them. This side, it's just locked down, and Grigory's not moved in. It's difficult to do an attack, but you'll notice I'm very aggressive sometimes, and probably to my detriment, and I just try and push. And you're about to see me do that at this side of the map, when I don't really need to. But I am going to be aggressive, and I am going to push. For no other reason than I'm annoyed, and I want to go and take that point if I can. Because I realise that we are 25 minutes into this game. If I'm struggling for units, they are definitely struggling for units as well, because I have killed a lot of their infantry. And as I say, you know, if we look now, there's an Umbros coming in, but you know, there's not this massive infantry where they're bringing in 4 at a time, 5 at a time. So they're obviously hurting for infantry as well. Oh my word, I still have much lucky BMP at this point. I'm genuinely gobsmacked by that. My army of T-80Bs. Can't go wrong with a T-80B. This side... Oh, Grigory's starting to push. He's using artillery to do a little bit of damage to stuff that's entrenched. Seed plane flittering over me. Shouldn't lock onto anything. Unless my Tunguska is on. No, it is on hold fire. I can't believe I had that many Motostrelki left still. Genuinely surprised by that at this stage of the game. I thought I'd run out. Rocket jets. Not doing a lot. Loads of those Lars 2s firing. Not doing much either. Oh, Mars as well. Mars will be doing some damage. That was me bringing in anti-air. Not that it did very much, I'm sure. Using artillery to try and dislodge some of this guy's troops. Look at this push. Fire everything. Must kill that commander, I know it's there. I also then spot that one, I think. Yeah. And the Jeopard. I mean, I feel like I'm firmly in control of this point now. They're obviously out of infantry. Not sure if I realised it at the time, though. They're calling in choppers. This is definitely one of those games where there just isn't a lot to call in. Loads of M48s there. Oh, this is sad. It might be later, it might not be now. There's a point where I have 2 T-80Us on the field, and that AT plane comes in and kills them both immediately. Like, they're right next to each other. It's very sad. This is me being aggressive. I don't need to be, I could just hold this point. But I'm like, you know what, I want to push. I want to see how much he has left. I want to go to this point and take that out. Grigory is pushing. He's dropped his smoke. There's not a lot there. He's got more in this little area than he does in the... Almost. About the same amount. This side I'm just using all my tanks to kill his tanks. As I say, being pretty aggressive here. Chopper's getting a little bit too close to all of my fire. Chopper there, these choppers are quite annoying really. There's a HE bomber coming in. Quite a bit of damage to me, took out a few things. HE bombers aren't that bad, you know, you think they're not going to do a lot of damage to vehicles, but they're not terrible. Bringing a Strela up to try and deal with these choppers. Yeah, it's beautiful. Nice hit. We get a nice wreckage of the chopper. I've never really zoomed in on the chopper wreckage. That's pretty good. That's a pretty nice wreckage. You know what else has nice wreckages of vehicles? Was always the Armour series of games, Armour 3 from Bohemia Interactive. They were good for wrecks. They even had some ones you could put down when you were map editing. This is me being over aggressive. I don't need to be doing this. I really don't. I could just sit in this point and defend it at this stage. But I'm conscious that they're so far ahead and we only have 10 minutes left. We need more points. So in my head I'm thinking I want to take this. But they're bringing in more tanks. And I don't have that many tanks here. There's my T-80 BVs coming in. Is it my T-80 BVs they're killing, not the T-80Us? I can't remember. I think I thought it was T-80Us. But I mean, we've got 10 minutes left now. Grigory's playing this a lot more delicately than I would be. I'd have attack moved all of this stuff in here to pile drive through all of these infantry. Look at those tanks coming in up close and personal. That's a bit too close for comfort. I wouldn't be bringing those 2A3s that close. It's very risky. Sword of the Saint playing it very safe. Look at all these tanks coming in. Destroyed most of my stuff that I'd sent out there. But that's me not playing very safe, playing overly aggressively when I didn't need to. Probably should have just held this, maybe tried to assist over here a bit more. But I mean, Grigory doing a good job. Managing to get in there now. We'll take that point. We're now at +3 with 8 minutes left. It must be these two BVs that get killed. I'm waiting for the moment because it was very sad. Calling some more BVs. I've got plenty of BVs. That's the one thing about this deck. It's got plenty of tanks. But there are tanks in other decks which are just as abundant. And you get more infantry. So right now, I probably picked one of the weakest decks in the game, sadly. Yes, they have great tanks, but there are other decks with reasonably good tanks that you get more of, and you get so many more infantry squads. Here it comes, yeah. So it was these two T-80 BVs that get whacked. Look at this. 1, 2. I mean, the second missile, it was basically over the unit when it fired. That's so crazy how fast that can target lock. Probably a bit too fast. The T-80U surviving in there at the moment. Don't think the T-80B will survive very long. It's against quite a few units there. I'm reversing it because I want to repair it, but see how it's all slowed down? There isn't quite as much of a constant stream of units from either side coming in. I'm bringing in a few things at this side to try and help out, because Grigory asked me to send some stuff here. 7 minutes left, we're at +6. If we stay at +6, we'll be alright. But this was a challenging game. Props to Sword of the Saint in particular. Played really well. Really good war of attrition. Made me lose a lot of infantry, unfortunately. Also lost a lot themselves. Tanks wise, I have the better tanks overall, but realistically, the 2A3 is really, really good. Shouldn't be underestimated. I mean, I know that they're trying to push and be aggressive, but Grigory has this now. There's no way they're getting in there. They have more chance of taking my side, I think, than they do that side. Because there's probably more buildings still intact in that town than there are here. This is just flattened. Completely flattened. I so wish I had got in here. They had defended it though. He did have anti-air. I'm always impressed when people bother to do that. Grigory didn't bother. I usually do. You'll notice straight away I've got scouts and Igler down here. And usually if I'm at this side I'd do the same. So there'd be Igler here and scouts just to stop any choppers coming around the back. I'm surprised Grigory didn't, to be honest. 2A3 dead. Nice job for the T80 BVs. Taking some damage though. That Ural came in to repair the T80U, but it's already dead. Oh, sad times. Jaguars, man. Jaguars. That's going to kill that. That's a case of me being over-aggressive again. Got side shot because I was turning it around to look at the Jaguar. Sandwiched between two sets of units. Again, I was being overly aggressive. I probably didn't need to be. I think I was riled up by that point and just wanted to attack. I have my little chopper in. Try and do some damage. Unfortunately, it's the wrong one. There's the AA chopper. There's the AT chopper. I do realise and pull that back. Yeah. They never really... I think once or twice they tried to counter battery our artillery, but not very often. I think we tried to do it with them once or twice, but Solid Saint was moving his around. This thing was extremely disappointing. I think I fired quite a few missiles, but it didn't really hit anything. 4 minutes left. We finally matched their points just about. But yeah, this was just an uphill slog from start to finish for me. I wish Grigory had attacked earlier, and I think Sword Saint would have had to redirect forces there, because it's the easier point to take and hold because of all of the forests around it, whereas this is, there's certainly more open fields. Last ditch attempt, bringing in all the recon units. So that's all of the infantry they've got left. AT chopper doing a better job with its rockets than it was with its normal missiles. Not a lot happening here. Just holding. 3 minutes to go. We have pushed ahead in points now. Look at all of that! Oh my word! That is a last-ditch attempt at calling everything in if I've ever seen it. Wow. I mean, these guys don't even have anti-tank. They're just purely anti-infantry. That is... wow. Oh! Yeah. Yeah, they're not getting back in there. More recon infantry. Yeah, Solid Saint surrendered at this point. Wasn't very happy with his partner's attempt to push, I believe. I mean, we had the advantage in this game. We knew each other, so we were communicating. Obviously, I don't know how good the communication was on their side. Two minutes left. You know, I don't know if we hit 2,000 points. I think time runs out. But at least we got ahead. But yeah. That was a long game. A long game. I'm glad there's time limits on them now. I mean, yeah, okay, we would have won this on points anyway, but what a fight. Well played to Sword Saint, who I was against for the majority of this. I mean... that AT chopper just makes me laugh. It's so bad. I was really disappointed with how it performed. It's not even tickling those guys, look. They haven't lost anything from all that fire. But yeah, well played to Swordless Saint. He did a very good job at keeping me bombarded at the start. This is me wanting to clear stuff, but the game's over anyway. Oh. Now, for the first time in a while, my kills were slightly higher than my losses, which is a good thing for a change. But look at Grigory's kills compared to his losses. You can tell he wasn't sacrificing anything in that game. But yeah, I think he punished ZS quite a lot there. I mean, that's a significant higher losses than kills. But again, I'm seeing one of those guys in terms of their units. I don't get to see mine on this screen, sadly. For the replay, it's a little bit buggy still. But well played to those guys. Very well played to Swordless Saint, who I was against. He was doing a really good job. Nice of Grigory to eventually attack that point and help out. But yeah, good game. Lesson for me was don't take the tank deck, basically, because right now the 79th just isn't great. I should have taken one of the infantry decks. I nearly took the 39th infantry division and I should have just done it. But it is what it is. We won eventually. I think it would have been easier if I'd had a different deck. But as always, thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for more WARNO on the channel. We've got the monthly tournaments. I'll be doing some casting of those games as well. And I'll see you all soon.